Alright, back again, Luke here, and today what I want to do is make a bit of an update video, and first and foremost, the thing that I'd really like to say is a huge thank you to every single person on here that has not only sent me a message of support, just telling me about, their situations that they've had, bad experiences that they've had, just words of like, oh, it'll get better, just kind words, to just grouping together and really helping out in an insane way. It was pretty unbelievable, just looking at what had happened in just one day's time. I was looking at the emails, I was looking at all of the things going back and forth, and I was really impressed to see how much that everyone had gotten together and just, tried to help me out. It was almost like watching the movie 300. I mean, it was pretty intense. I'd never seen anything like it, it was really, just mind-blowing. And, to give you guys some updates, as far as the situation goes, I did get contacted by the seller several times, and I received a lot of emails from everyone, and especially with eBay as well. And the situation is resolved. I received a 100% refund for my purchase, and I had some words with the seller back and forth, and I know that from time to time, if you are if you're a seller on eBay, sometimes if you're selling electronics, maybe you aren't the supplier exactly, but one thing that you have to kind of remember is, even as a seller, a private seller, or as a business, you have to remember that even if you don't make the product, even if you are not responsible for that product by, making it, designing it, anything like that, you're responsible as a seller when you do sell it. And sometimes in the factory, there are some times when the suppliers have a bad batch of something, and it's defective, and it gets shipped out. And at that point in time, if a customer makes a complaint, it's very important that the seller takes on all of that responsibility and acts as if it was their fault, and it's really important for every single seller. I mean, if you go to Best Buy or something and you try and buy an electronic, item, and you get it home and it doesn't work, when the customer comes back, do you think the customer says, oh, I hate Sony, oh, this is definitely Sony's fault, and, I want you to contact Sony and get me a replacement from Sony? No, of course not. They look exactly at the person in front of them and say, I want a new TV, or I want a new electronic product now. I want you to switch this out. This is your fault. This is maybe not directly, you didn't do this intentionally, but you're responsible, so I want you to change it out. And that's kind of the approach that the sellers need to take. They need to be aware of something like this, and if a problem does arise, they need to make sure that the second time when, if there is a customer complaint, or if there is a problem the first time, they need to make sure that that problem does not happen a second time. And they really need to put a strong emphasis on customer values. The customer is number one. They need to try to make the customer feel, much more relaxed about buying something maybe again. They need to make the customer feel comfortable by apologizing and trying to do as much as they can, not to try and escalate the situation. So I think that's a very important thing for many sellers, and sometimes it takes a bad situation to bring a very good outcome, in the future. And hopefully, from this, I really do hope that something positive will happen. Now, I'm not going to say that every single seller especially on eBay, is a bad seller, because that would be a ridiculous statement, and that would be a statement that would not only hurt a lot of private sellers, it would hurt a lot of businesses that do try out on eBay. And I have had some really good experiences recently. If you remember, I picked up Ghouls and Ghosts, and it happened to be a seller in the UK, and he actually, he sent me out a very nice copy. This is really nice. And then he sent me a message, through eBay, and he said, "Oh, I just wanted to check, there's been something I've been dying to ask you since I sent that out. Are you the same Luke from, YouTube?" And I just emailed him and said, "Yeah, I am. I'm the same guy. And I really appreciate this, thanks again." And he just said, "Oh, yeah, no, it's no problem, and he was really happy about sending it." So there are some really great guys out there, and even some of you guys on here on YouTube are ones that are trying to sell things on eBay. I know I've even tried to sell things on eBay, and I know that the majority of the people who are trying to sell things out there are not trying to take advantage of anyone. They're not trying to scam anyone, but it is a really, it's a difficult situation. You really get put in a bind when you have a really bad experience, followed by another bad experience. And then, you have others who are experiencing the same bad things. And it just creates this huge, image of, okay, this area or this particular thing, this particular company, whatever, this is not good. It's really looking bad, And it really does take a lot in order for that company or for those those people to try and come back and say, "Hey, you know what? We make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and we're willing to accept those mistakes. And from now on, we'd like to try and get over it. Try to turn over a new leaf. Try and make things better." And they really strive for that. And I think that that's the key point. So once again. I think that it was a really stressful situation, and it really did, it caused me to become quite furious, especially when you're having the same kind of situation happen multiple times. But to be fair, on a positive note, I'd like to say that the seller, after contacting me, several times, a couple of times in panic and a couple of times in, kind of wondering what was going on and what was going to happen from here. In the end, the seller seemed reasonable. He had mentioned that he wanted to try and do what he could to compensate for the trouble that had been caused, or the damage to the goods that had occurred. And eBay, I'd like to say that eBay's customer support, as far as trying to help out the little guy, to help out the buyer, was pretty fantastic. It was very surprising, and those are some really good points, I think. Especially when I had the situation, this happened yesterday. I did receive an email from eBay as well the very next day. It was a personalized email that was not sent out by a robot, not sent out by just a random response. It was actually done by a personal, customer service representative. And they had gone through the whole situation. They had contacted the seller had contacted me, and the situation was resolved very quickly. As I had mentioned before, I did get a refund for the item. So those kind of things there, they really do mean a lot on the positive side of selling and buying, and especially feeling like you have some sort of buyer protection. And those are the things that I really want to give some praise to, because I find that there are some situations, nowadays where you don't receive that kind of service. Nobody is out there to try and help you. There are some people out there that are just trying to help themselves. But once you do receive some kind of service like that, I think it needs to be recognized, and I definitely think that the service that I received through eBay throughout this whole situation was very positive. So. And I'm not the kind of person, I know there's a lot of people out there too that are not the kind of people who try to complain intentionally. And to be honest, I would have bit my tongue and not said anything the first time. Errors happen, but when it happens twice, it's kind of, And I did, make a mistake by, on my side, maybe purchasing a second item at that time. But if from now on the seller decides that, tries to put more emphasis on customer service like you had mentioned, I think that things may turn around, and I think the seller may actually wind up becoming a very good seller and a very trustworthy seller. I think it's the ones who constantly get away with things and nothing is ever brought to light, and they constantly keep doing it to other people and they never have to reap any repercussions for it. Those are the sellers that eventually will, they'll take advantage of everyone. But the sellers who really want to try and help out, especially in a bad situation, and do their best to help out, those are usually the sellers that you can go back and trust. So I appreciate all the help from everyone. I know that some people had contacted the seller and had a few words, and I do appreciate that as well. I would say that from now on, there are probably no other reasons why the seller should have to be harassed or should have to receive any other emails. So for those who have helped me, I am really thankful for that. But as for right now, I think that the situation itself has been resolved, and I don't believe that it needs to be pushed any further or escalated anymore. But that is that it was just an amazing situation, and I'm really happy and really shocked that everyone has had come all together and tried to help me out like that. And yeah, I really do appreciate it a lot. So that's the kind of trouble news and the good news kind of all mixed into one and out of the way. And for those of you who who do use eBay, I think that you probably have a lot of good experiences out there, and there may be times where you have bad experiences, but don't necessarily give up on it. Don't close down your accounts because of my own personal situation here that I've had. I at one point, I was thinking about closing down my eBay just because I didn't want to deal with anything like that again. But in times where you feel really passionate or you feel kind of heated about something, you will sometimes feel very, very strongly about it. And once you cool down a little bit, you start to think a little bit more. And sometimes your opinions change. Sometimes they stay the same. But yeah. So I don't recommend anyone, stop buying from eBay. There are a lot of good things on eBay that cannot be found on, on other places. Some things can be found on Amazon, but some things can't. And yeah, there's a good mix of good and bad. So, but yeah. As far as the video goes, let's kind of try and change this into a more kind of upbeat video here to give you guys a little bit more of a positive vibe. Or maybe a different vibe. I don't know if it's positive or not. The video that I put up, I really appreciate all the comments on the old LaserActive, and yeah, that thing's a beast. It is really an awesome little thing there. Some of the questions were like what kind of grease, and just using regular mechanical grease or white lithium grease, it works really good. On the bottom of the tray, there's some rails, and you can put some grease on the bottom of the metal rails. You'll see if it's kind of bone dry, there'll become some kind of scrape marks or something on there, so you can just kind of rub it on there with a Q-tip or so, and then that'll fix it up pretty good. And on some of the gears, especially where the laser mechanism itself rolls, there's a belt and a pulley. Make sure you just don't get the grease on the belt or the pulley because it'll slip. But on some of the other gears, and especially the pole where the laser mechanism slides on, just make sure to put some grease on that. Slide it back and forth just a little bit, just so that you get some grease on the inside of that bushing. And then it should be okay for the most part. And I use some compressed air to try and clean out the rest of it, so worked out really good. I really do apologize. I was really shocked though when I did put up the video on that. I used Castlevania X, and I've used that in videos before, in the past, and I've used it for even a gameplay video, I think. But I received a what would you say, a restriction on it, saying that the music was owned by like SMS or something like that. Music company, and that in some countries the rights were prohibited or something like that. So everything on the video was completely restricted. So it says some countries this game is, or this video is restricted. Some videos, or some countries this video cannot be seen. This video cannot be monetized. This video is not penalizing your account, but it may have ads appear next to it or something like that. So yeah, I was a bit surprised about that, and I do apologize for that. I didn't think anything like that was going to happen, especially, you know, since I put up videos on that before, but it was the Castlevania Dracula X music that was the one that caused it to, yeah, get flagged. It was at 11 minutes and 50 seconds, so as soon as it started up with the intro music, that was it. That was where it got flagged, so I apologize for that. I had no idea that was going to happen, but it is working, so yeah, hopefully we can, you know, yeah, do something with it. I don't know. Maybe I'll make another video. Maybe I'll just strip it apart. Just take it all apart again and just go like, hey, so guys, I just got this in here and it looks really shiny, and yeah, you got to imagine it was dirty before, but you know, it's clean now because it magically got cleaned. And just picture this area on the inside with dirt, and picture this rail here with like no grease on it, and yeah, now it's got grease. Hey, look, you know, I don't know. Just it's just so you guys can see, you know, what happened, what took place with it, and then what got changed around with it, so you guys can see the inside. But I don't know. I apologize for that. Let's see here. Also, huge thanks for all the different recommendations on where to put this monster. I don't know. I mean, I guess it could go up here. It might be able to sandwich it on top of this and then take the old Xbox and put the Xbox somewhere. I might give that a shot. That might be a possibility. That might be kind of cool, having both of those on top of each other. But I'll try that. Then I'll have to try and find a place for the Wii as well, because that's not going to fit there. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, I will. I'll check around and see what I can do here. Also, I want to put up some videos on my Master System 2. Because I've been trying to play some games on this thing, and I'm really digging it. I love it. You know, it's a lot of fun to go back and play some of these games. Well, I shouldn't say go back, to play some of these games that I never had played before. And, you know, it's a lot of fun. It looks awesome. It sounds awesome. It feels pretty awesome. So a couple of people had wondered, you know, what was my take on this compared to the NES. And, you know, once again, I'm not going to bash either system. I think that both systems had their good and bad. And I think that during the time, if you were in an area where the NES was more prominent, I think that the NES really was great for its time. A lot of people enjoyed it. And if you grew up with the NES, you'll love the NES. If you grew up with the Sega Master System, you're going to love the Sega Master System. As far as graphics-wise go, and you know, the solid kind of feel for the graphics, without like the kind of glitchiness in between, I would say the Sega Master System definitely is more solid, and it looks much more colorful and much more kind of refined. And as far as the NES goes, I think there was a lot of great sounding games on it. I think there were a lot of really interesting, fun platformers, really well-designed games. I just think that maybe the system or some parts like that just couldn't handle it. They couldn't keep up with it. But yeah, I love it. I love this thing. This thing's awesome. But hopefully I didn't take up too much of your time, and I really do appreciate everything. Once again, huge thanks to everyone for everything that you've done to help me out, and hopefully from now on we can kind of go in a more positive direction here and try and do some more gaming videos, do some more repair videos, do some more crazy, you know, Luke does crazy stuff videos, you know, eating candy and doing some bike riding with the camera all like wobbling everywhere, and people get motion sickness and can't hear me because the voice is all like, you know, and you know, do some cultural videos and things like that. But yeah, so today, no music, no background noise, nothing else to stare at, you know, except for me and my balding head. But that's about all for me for right now. Like always, I'll put up another video here soon, so thanks for watching.